Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron Show, and I gotta say, I love video games. I love video games, and if you've been on my channel long enough, you know that. But what I've noticed from the gaming community, from the big reviewers and gaming news places like IGN, GameSpot, Game Trailers, Machinima, Rooster Teeth, all them, to even some of our favorite internet personalities like Total Biscuit, Angry Joe, Jesse Cox, just your favorite YouTube personalities, whether it be a Let's Player or a reviewer or just someone who's a video game commentator. I've just noticed from the gaming community as a whole, whether it be from those big personalities or the dreaded YouTube commenters, I just noticed that people don't appreciate video games. Sure, they'll like video games, they'll buy video games, they'll enjoy video games, they'll have their favorite video games and games they utterly hate, but no one appreciates video games as a whole. They don't appreciate a video games. There's no appreciation. And I mean that in two ways. Firstly, people complain about the games industry as a whole, how it is right now. I'm not gonna lie. It has problems. It has big damn problems, but so does any industry. The movie industry has problems, the TV industry has massive flippin' problems, and so do other industries. But the video game industry, people have... I don't know what it is about the games industry, but people really bitch at it hard and say it's horrible, and say crazy things like it needs to completely redone. The game industry we currently have needs to be torn down and rebuilt and all that stuff. And I see a lack of appreciation for the games industry here. People praise the indie market, of course, but the big AAA guys, they take a lot of shit. And I know why. Don't get me wrong. Big AAA developers have done some pretty shitty things, and they should be made well aware of the mistakes that they've made, but to say the games industry as a whole is broken, needs to be redone, that it's awful, it shouldn't exist, people forget about the big video game crash of 1983. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember where because of this piece of shit game, E.T., we almost lost video games forever? They wouldn't be a thing, they wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Nintendo and they made their Nintendo Home Entertainment System and released Mario, Super Mario Bros. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember how close we were to losing video games? Granted, I wasn't born at that time yet, but to think about it, that there was a possibility in history where video games may not have existed, where they would have disappeared. They would have been a niche thing, and nothing more. Yeah, the game industry right now have some problems, but be grateful. Appreciate what we have, because there was a time where we could have had nothing at all, and I'd rather have what we have now. The games industry we have now, I would rather have the video games we have now than not have had anything at all. And secondly, nobody appreciates the hard work that is put into making a video game nowadays. They're either blinded by nostalgia goggles, or agree with popular opinion, or make ridiculous judgments and statements out of the blue, even on a game they haven't played, barely know anything about, and will just make these ridiculous statements. But what I hate the most, what I hate utterly the most, is when people say a game is bad, a game is shit, when it isn't. When it's simply personal opinion, whether you like or dislike a game. It drives me up the goddamn wall when people say Titanfall is shit, or it's COD with mechs. Grow the hell up. A lot more creativity, love and respect, motivation, and hard work was put into making Titanfall. It is a good game. It is a quality product. It is well made, and a lot of hard work was put into creating this game. Titanfall is a good game. It's simply personal opinion whether you like it or dislike it. It is not shit. It never has been, never will be. Knock it off. It is a good game. You simply like it or dislike it. Similar thing to DMC Devil May Cry. It is a good quality game. It is not bad. It is personal opinion whether you like it or dislike it. And the way people shit on that game simply because it's a remake. Simply because it's a remake of the Devil May Cry franchise. It's not the same main character, not the same Dante as the originals. Because they're going through a new look, a new mood, a new tone. And all of a sudden, it must be called a horrible, dreadful game. It must get shit on, and the developers must get death threats? Are you kidding me? DMC is a good game. A well-crafted game. Well-made game. A game where a lot of hard work was put into it. As most games are. People shit on the Call of Duty franchise and tell it's awful. Now don't get me wrong. It's been tripping the ball and losing quality over the years. But they're not bad games, because there is legitimate hard work put into making those games. Just like any other games. How come games like BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, Shadow of the Colossus will get praised? They will get praised for being good games. And the hard work the developers put into it will be praised. Oh, but games like Titanfall, Devil May Cry, Deadpool will get shit on. Just shit on. Yeah, ignore the time, effort, love, blood, sweat, and tears that was put into making these games. The amount of time and effort and imagination, creativity it takes to make a video game. Show some appreciation, guys. Hell, I will go as far as to say Resident Evil 6, a game that's hated by the Resident Evil community, is a good game. You simply dislike it. Resident Evil 6 is a good game. It is polished. A lot of hard work was put into it. Graphics, sound quality, voice acting. All of that was well done, and a lot of effort was put into making the game. I hate it. I despise it. When a developer works as hard as they do to make the game of their dreams, to create something that they think is awesome, that is great, that they are passionate about, and then they just get shit on by a bunch of ungrateful, unappreciative, egotistical jerks. Now everyone has the right to an opinion. I support that 100%. Please, have your own opinion on a game. You can like it, you can dislike it, you cannot care for it. That is fine. There is nothing wrong with that, whether you like or dislike a game. It's your right to have an opinion, and you won't always agree with everybody, and not everybody will agree with you. That's the way things go, and that's perfectly fine. But when you outright state and claim that a game is bad, that it's shit, you lack appreciation. There was a time where these games that you think are shit, and you know those games that you really like, there was a possibility not so long ago where they may have never have been made at all. Oh yeah, and by the way, before you start proclaiming that a game is shit, how about you try and make a video game yourself? Maybe you'll earn some appreciation and humility for the products that are put out there. A video game takes time, effort, love, and care. These developers work their heart and soul into making these products, into making these experiences, these art forms that we enjoy and take part in a daily basis. We've created a community around them, a brand new industry that looks to compete or even topple movies and television. So for the love of God, before you type in those comments, or before you say such unappreciative and biased things towards a video game, think, please. Think and appreciate what we have. Appreciate video games. Appreciate the hard work that is put into making them. Because about 90%, a majority of games are not shit. It's simply opinion-based as to whether you like a game or not. So, let me make this as clear as possible. BioShock Infinite is not a bad game. It is not shit. The Last of Us is not a bad game. It is not shit. Titanfall is not a bad game. It is not shit. DMC Devil May Cry is not a bad game. It is not shit. You want a bad game? You want a shit game to complain about? How about you leave these quality games that hard work has been put into alone, and you start bitching about real shit games like Ride to Hell Retribution, Mindjack, Gary's Incident, The War Z, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. You want to complain about shit games? Talk about games that are actually shit. This has been the Gamertron. I hope you think about what I've said, and I hope from now on more people will appreciate video games.